Hi. 2 years ago, I told you that Bitcoin is a scam, just like the Dutch tulip bulbs and the South Sea bubble. In other words, it's a Ponzi scheme. Look it up. The video clip is from January 15, 2021. Yes, a few others said it too. Warren Buffett and Charlie Munger, for example. Well, the scam is now blowing up. FTX, a marketer and distributor of Bitcoin, is gone. $14 billion went poof. Some of it got into political contribution just before the US elections. Fancy that. The scammer, by the way, now in the Bahamas, has been asking around anxiously, how is it in jail? Is it very hard? It better be. Many innocent idiots got suckered and lost all their money. But not only them. Many so-called smart people were suckered too. How come? Two reasons: idiocy and immoral collaborators. There were not just innocents who were lured in, there were also those paid to lure them to the slaughter. Some of these immoral rascals were celebrities who monetized their name and got paid for it to convince others to plunge, like US fashionistas, or a famous Canadian Shark Tank genius, or a well-known US football star and his top model wife, and also many so-called analysts and brokers on Wall Street, all of whom got paid to lure the stupid innocents in. Did all these immoral promoters know it was a Ponzi scheme? Well, the choice between them being evil or being idiots. The lawyers will now surely try to prove they were idiots. Or some of the celebrities could join the FTX scammer in jail. Or maybe they were both idiotic and evil. How to decide? Maybe give these celebrities an IQ test. If they pass, they go to jail. If they fail, they stay free. Well, come to think of it, it probably won't work. Because you see, not just innocents were lured in, but also seasoned fund managers. Among the mega losers, you can find names of Bay Area venture capitalists, New York hedge funds, and many so-called sophisticated investors, even one large Ontario pension fund. How come? Are these people too smart to fall for such scams? Apparently not. You see, unfortunately, high intelligence is no antidote to stupidity. The lawyers can even bring up the following in court in their defense. Isaac Newton, the one who discovered gravity, remember? The one with the apple? He was suckered into a South Sea bubble, a 200-year-old Ponzi scheme, the Bitcoin of the day, and he lost everything. Now, those who lost billions today to Bitcoin don't have as high an IQ as Newton, but it's high enough. So how come so many did fall into the obvious Bitcoin scam? The overarching answer, you may be surprised to learn, is fear, also known as lack of cojones, or rather, two kinds of fear. The first is fear to admit you have no clue what Bitcoin is. That's understandable. It involves math, computing roots of an equation, which frankly takes some understanding, although come to think of it, I think I did see a book called Bitcoin for Idiots. But the second fear is bureaucrats were afraid to tell their bosses their plan to invest in Bitcoin was idiotic. In other words, there was a fear of speaking their mind to authority. This, by the way, was a rational fear. Today, the fear of speaking your mind has occasionally become almost as prevalent as in this old Soviet Union. This, by the way, is not my opinion. It came to me from friends who managed to escape the old USSR. Some who now live in North America tell me they are surprised to find many of these old Soviet aspects replicated here. So why am I telling you all this? Because if you understand that fear, you will begin to understand Bitcoin. Bitcoin, in my opinion, is a direct result of the fear of calling out bullshit. It's the urge to toe the line, no matter how obviously idiotic this line is. Why they even began to teach it in school. No, of course they don't teach Bitcoin in school, but the mindset to believe all you are told starts there. That and self-censorship of thinking differently. You don't believe me? Take a piece of paper and a pen. Here come two questions. Write them down. First question, what do you know in your heart of hearts to be BS, and yet you feel compelled to affirm it every day, especially in public? Don't tell me what it is, just write it down. Second, what do you know in your heart of hearts to be true, and yet you feel compelled to deny it every day, especially to yourself. No, don't show this to anyone, because you can get into trouble. So why do I ask you to do it? Because it's an exercise to develop a habit of calling out bullshit like Bitcoin. Like George Carlin's famous skit, calling BS on many popular beliefs who really are nothing but unadulterated, 24 carats, pure, high-grade bullshit. They should be teaching this in school. It used to be called skepticism. Does anyone teach it anymore? No. And not only they don't teach it, they discourage it actively. 2-3 years ago, the daughter of a friend of mine got into trouble in school for refusing to join a demonstration against global warming. I'm sure you've heard of similar cases. Joining such a demonstration is supposed to be a cheap act of civic virtue. Costs you nothing and you're virtuous. The global warming movement was started by a European teen with mental issues who was, of course, seen as a prophetess of a new religion, the new Joan of Arc. My friend's daughter was told that her class will demonstrate before the Ontario Provincial Parliament, together with all other classes of the school. She didn't want to go. She said she didn't believe global warming was a real issue. Maybe 5% of it was, but the rest was BS. She didn't say BS. She was polite. It didn't help. The teacher and the classmate all pressured her to go, because, of course, resisting a demonstration was an act of defiance, making her an asocial character. The girl was conflicted. However, her mother was born in the Soviet Union and was familiar with the tactics, so she supported the daughter's refusal to go along with nonsense, because she said, unlike in Russia, thank goodness here we can say no. Or so she thought. Next day, when the mother picked up the girl at school, the teacher reprimanded the mother gently. She was a young teacher, about 28, but already infected with the fear of being different or allowing too independent thinking. The kind of fear that makes an Ontario pension fund manager reluctant to tell her bosses that Bitcoin is BS. She too doesn't want to stand out. She has a career to think about. That's how it begins in school, being taught to go along with BS. Back to the story. The teacher said to the girl's mother, don't you want to teach your daughter social compassion? Yes, said the mother. She gives alms to beggars, but she will not be bullied into it. I know the method to Moscow. How about teaching the children courage to say no? The teacher was not pleased. The daughter's girlfriends were also not pleased. They began to shun her. I won't say how the matter ended. My friend's daughter is still in school, barely. She now says she wants to be a physicist when she grows up and win a Nobel Prize. Not for BS like global warming, but for real physics, where you have to prove something is true and even then be open to doubt. Can she? She probably can, if she persists and stays lucky. But what is certain is that she won't invest in Bitcoin because she is not afraid to stand up to scams run by idiots and by rascals who get paid to push it. Can you? Or do you feel queasy even when you hear me speak about it? If you are, you can be the next sucker for Bitcoin. How to defend yourself against it? Look up again the answers to the two questions above about what you feel compelled to lie about to others and to yourself. And watch that old George Carlin skit again. Remember, brains are no insurance against idiocy. Only one thing is. And what is that? As an old Roman politician named Seneca once said, all human virtues are worthless without the necessary first one, courage. That's all for today. Let me know in the comments below what you think of the above. And if you like it, give it a like and subscribe. Then resend to your friends so they subscribe too. Then buy my book, The Sleuth Investor, and give it a review on Amazon, which I hope a good one. I'll see you next time. And meantime, thank you very much for watching.